I'm Jared Falk, and today we're going to teach you how to EQ your toms. Now, of all of our videos, the stuff that gets most comments is the toms. People just absolutely love the way our toms sound, and it's understandable. We spent a lot of time, hours upon hours, working with the toms on our set, working with the EQ, working with mic combinations, and so we feel that we know exactly what we want and we know exactly how to EQ them and get those sounds. So what I've done is I've got Victor Guidera, our sound engineer, for all the drumlessons.com videos in the other room. We put a couple cameras on him, and we're just going to basically walk you through and EQ these 4 drums. So, how you doing, Victor?
Really good. So let's start with the 8-inch tom there, Jared. So what I've done instinctively, I don't think I'm going to want a bottom mic on that drum. I generally, with the toms, I like to top and bottom mic them almost always. But with the 8, it's just so small and it's so projecting that, I don't know, I'm just going to see what it sounds like with just a top only and then start going from there. So, Jared, if you want to just take it away. Okay, so I think that's starting to sound really great. I don't think I'm going to want a bottom microphone on that 8-inch tom. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I think it sounds really, really good. And one thing I wanted to mention to all the viewers is, and this is something you've said a lot, Victor, is it starts with a really good drum set, and then it goes to like good drum heads, it goes to good tuning, and then it's about the player, obviously, and then the mics, and then that's where you take it away. So it's always great to start with a good foundation. So if you're not hearing this exact same sound out of your drums, you got to make sure that all these links are there for the chain, and then your drums could sound like this if you want them to sound like that.
Yeah, so again, what I've done with the 8-inch tom is I've boosted a little bit of the point where the stick will hit the skin, this slap sound, which is somewhere around, I've got it boosted a little bit at about 4 kilohertz. And then I'm cutting at about 350 hertz, just the low end, and then I'm just adding just a tiny, tiny bit of the low shelf, maybe 1 dB, maybe a half dB of the low shelf. And that's a generalized EQ that is almost the same for even other sizes of toms. I generally boost to get more of the slap on the skin, somewhere around 4,000 hertz, and then I generally cut in the low mid-range, somewhere generally around 300 hertz. So let's move on to the next tom. Jared, take it away. Okay, great. That top mic is sounding really good. So I'll just explain what I boosted and cut. So I boosted at about 3600 hertz, just about 3 dB, maybe 3.5. And I've cut the low mid at 250 hertz and then boosted the low shelf just about 1 dB or so. And so what you'll notice is that the low mid range that I cut was slightly lower than at 8-inch tom, and then I added a little bit more of the low shelf on this tom as well. So let's just listen to the bottom mic and tweak that. Okay, so you notice in the bottom microphone it sounds a little bit more resonant, a little bit more sustained. It doesn't have as much body and low end as the top mic. And also the point, the snap sound is not as prominent as in the top mic. So let's just go over what we've done here. So we boosted a little bit at about 3,500 hertz. I've cut a lot at 350 or 400 hertz. I've cut maybe about 6 dB. Had a really bad ring there. And that's it, not too much more. So I'm going to listen again one last time and blend the two microphones, top and bottom. And one thing that I must note is that you've got to flip the phase or reverse the phase of the bottom microphone on the toms if you're top and bottom miking. And I won't get too much into the technical aspect of that, but I'm going to be doing that digitally in the recording program. You'll find that on some consoles you'll have an actual phase reverse switch on the input stage of the console. So we'll do that and have a listen to the blended top and bottom microphones. Okay, so that's sounding really good. I love the balance between the two microphones. You notice that when I bring in the bottom mic, after flipping the phase, it brings in a whole new level of low end and just warmness to the drum. And this is why I top and bottom mic almost every single tom. So let's move on to the next tom. Okay, so that's sounding really good. I'll just explain what I boosted and cut here. So we boosted at about 4,000 hertz, about 3 dB. We've cut dramatically at about 270 hertz, a lot more than the other toms. We've cut about 5 dB on that. And then I've added in some of the low shelf, about 2 dB of the low shelf at 80 hertz. Okay, so let's move on to the bottom mic and hear that. Okay, so again, with the bottom microphone, it sounds thinner, has a large boost in about the 350, 500 hertz range. So I'm cutting a lot. I've actually taken the high mid and swept it all the way down to about 800, maybe about 600-700 hertz, and I've cut about 4 dB. Then I've taken the low mid, cut at about 300 hertz, cut dramatically again, 4 or 5 dB. And then I boosted just the very top end with the high shelf, and then the very low end with the low shelf, just about 1 dB on each of those. So I'm going to hear it again with both microphones and blend the top and the bottom, and I'm going to again phase reverse the bottom microphone. Okay, great. So I love the blend between those two microphones. And if you notice, while I hear them both together, I wanted to get rid of that low mid at about 350 or 300 hertz or so, even that much more. So I took both the top and bottom microphone and took that low mid down even that much more, just about another dB and a half or so. So let's move on to the next tom and hear the top mic. Great, that floor tom sounds awesome. So let's take a look at what I've tweaked here. So we boosted at about 4 kilohertz, about 3 dB, cut 4 dB at 350 hertz, and we boosted the low shelf about 2 dB at 80 hertz. So let's hear the bottom mic. Okay, so very similar to the 12-inch EQ. I've boosted a little bit at about 3500 hertz, cut dramatically at about 350 or 400 hertz, boosted a little bit of the high shelf, a little bit of the low shelf. Let's hear them both together. Okay, so I love the sound of that floor tom. Now what I'm going to do is get Jared to play around all of the toms. Just single open notes like he's doing on one shell, but split it up between the toms. And then we'll hear what that sounds like. And one thing to note, in the stereo field that we're mixing to, we're panning the toms from the drummer's perspective, meaning that the 8-inch will sound like it's on the left, then the 10, then the 12, and then the 14. Okay, let's hear how that sounds. Okay, those sound really good together. And we didn't actually end up using any muffling or anything on the drums. And Jared, I don't know, you have some opinions about that.
Yeah, when it comes to getting drum sounds in our studio, I preferably don't like to use any muffling on the toms. I like to work with the tuning and work with the EQ as much as possible and try and stay away from the muffling. That's just personal preference, and that's just our way of doing things. So there's not like you are not allowed to use muffling or anything like that. If you really, really want to, you can go ahead and try it. But I just want to thank Victor for kind of sharing his knowledge with the drumlessons.com community. You guys, this kind of information is invaluable, and it can stay with you for the rest of your life. Like, learning how to properly EQ drums is very, very good to know. And that's exactly how we do it. You know, if you want these types of drum sounds, you just follow what we do as far as head choice goes, as far as drum choice goes, as far as miking techniques and mic choice goes, and then as far as EQing goes. So all the information is there for you. It's up for you to take it. It's up to you to take it and actually apply it. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys again very soon.